I spoke truth through my tears. And this is where I apologize for the dirty lens. Proceed. Welcome everyone to the Find Your Voice show, where we are helping high-profile Black women leaders to find their voice from the inside out. Let's talk about speaking truth today. Before I go on, make sure that you click subscribe and click the notification button to make sure you are getting new content when it drops. And stay till the end because there's something I want to announce. Speaking truth. And this is a thought that was prompted through a coaching conversation I had yesterday. And I feel like a turning point for me as a Black woman in the United States was after the George Floyd death, murder. Let's call it what it is. After the George Floyd murder. And we know that that was the shot heard around the world because I've been to other places where they have heard about Black men being killed. What does this have to do with being a transformational public speaker? Let me remind you, being a transformational public speaker is about 80% transformation. 80% transformation. That has to do with you. And 20% technique. If you want to be a good speaker, then just focus on the technique. And this video wouldn't be necessary. If you want to be a transformational speaker who is making impact around the world, then stay right here with me. What I'm talking about is speaking truth. And during the aftermath in 2020, I was asked to speak at a rally. I lived in a very small village in New York, outside of New York City, and I was asked to speak at a rally. Not told what to say, but it was basically a Black Lives Matter vigil. Let me give you the stats of the village I lived in because I think this is really, really important. 7%. 7% African Americans or Black people living in there. And that is where I lived. I just wanted to give that right away. So I went to make my speech. I wrote it. And it was, I barely even remember writing it. I wrote some things, but it was still bringing up some stuff for me. They called my name, and I went up, because it was a podium, to take a few steps. And when I stood up, holy shit. You have to understand that I was one of the first ones at the rally, and there was like a handful of people. By the time I walked up to give my speech, there were several hundred people that had gathered, but I didn't see them because I was up front and they were behind me. And when I started to speak, there was the shaking in my voice. There were tears. There's probably snot. I don't know. I'm sure there was lots of spit coming out of my mouth. But what I did was I spoke my truth. So number one, I'm going to put the link to that because it's right here on YouTube. It's called This Is My Home. That's what someone called it. I did not give it a title myself. And go ahead and make sure that you click below to listen to the speech, only about 11 or 12 minutes. So make sure you click on it and listen to that. Feel free to leave a comment. I'll still get those comments over there. And I proceeded to speak my truth. I won't give away all that I said, but it was in the wake of all those things. So please listen to it. But what am I getting at? As a transformational public speaker, you are a transformational leader. I don't want to have to always state the obvious, but I'm going to right now. And being that transformational leader, listen, there are many times as Black woman leaders that we have suppressed our emotion. We mask how we feel. We learn to grin even though sometimes we are offended, because it's not always the divine time to speak your truth. However, I want to talk about when those times open up and you can speak from your heart. So what does that take to be able to do that? Number one, it takes an open heart coupled with a commitment. Open heart coupled with a commitment. An open heart means that you're saying, I'm going to pour out the truth in this situation. I'm opening up my heart and I'm not guarding it the way I usually have to in normal situations, because I know that my truth will bring about transformation. I know that my truth will bring about the change that is needed. Coupled with commitment. I believe in what I'm doing. I'm committed to this. Because it's something about making that open commitment that it makes you forge ahead. It brings everything together in your body and in your soul, that you're saying, I'm walking and I'm moving ahead. Those were the two things I had to come to. Said, I'm going to do something I've never done before like this. It was the first time, 40 plus, right? 40 plus years of living. And it was the first time I had ever spoken my truth in front of white folk in that way. Very raw. But I had made a commitment. And I opened up my heart. And see, for me, I'm a sensitive person. I'm a sensitive feeling person. And I can cry very easily. I'm surprised I haven't cried yet during one of these videos. But I had to open up my heart. And the third thing I'm going to say to you is the toughest when it comes to speaking your truth. And it's something that I know that you know it already. But today I want to make sure that you know that you know that you know it. If you're committed to this when these situations open up. And that is to be prepared for backlash. I'll say it for the people in the back because this doesn't always feel good. Be prepared for the backlash. I think I just said two things. Sorry. This is be prepared for the backlash. Here is the third thing I want to say. Quick story. It was all happening, I believe, within that week of each other. This next story that I tell you. I was in my Bible study. My Bible study, actually, even though there's a small group of us, there were me, as far as Black folk, there was me and a couple. However, we were doing a Bible study where the couple wasn't there that evening. And I just say that, I don't know, sometimes, I'm not even going to say God works in mysterious ways because I don't think that's necessarily appropriate here. However, this thing happened. I think it was meant to happen in this way with me being by myself. So let's say there are about 6 or 7 of us on a call. The Black couple hasn't shown up. However, it's me and the other white folk. And they knew a lot was going on. So one of my friends on the Bible study said, hey, Fuyanzi, how are you doing? How are you really doing with everything going on? Queen, why did she ask me that? Why did she ask me that? And actually, she meant it. And she asked me, and the floodgates opened. And I said, I told my truth. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. I'm tired, of people not knowing. And this is connected. Remember what I said, be prepared for the backlash. Because the truth that I was speaking, a woman who for years I had been in this Bible study with could not handle it. And she began to cut me off while I was speaking my truth. And I said, no, I am not finished speaking yet. I said it very direct, very strong like that. And where's a laptop? Oh, I need to mock what happened. So imagine we're on Zoom on this Bible study. And what she did was, when I said, no, I'm not finished speaking. Honey, she slammed that laptop down. I want to pause right there to say we have to be prepared for people to slam doors, people to slam laptops, people to say F you and everything that you stand for. We have to be ready for that backlash. But that's also where community comes into. We've talked about community in a previous episode, really connection and community. But we can talk about that more later. And be open, lastly, is be open to being vulnerable. Being a transformational leader, we hear Brené Brown talk a lot about vulnerability. Many of you, I know, have not only probably read her book, you probably have had even maybe a workshop leader come into your place of employment, or even maybe your business, to your employees, because you want everyone to be on the same page. And that idea of vulnerability, I believe it feels different for a Black woman leader. I believe it wholeheartedly. Our path is different from the path of others. Can I get an amen in the chat if you're hearing me and you're understanding what I'm saying? What do you have today? This is speaking your truth. So where is it that it's time for you to speak your truth? Comment below. Has the opportunity opened for you? Do you see the opportunity opening for you to speak your truth? Have an open heart coupled with commitment. Be prepared for the backlash and be vulnerable. This is where the transformation happens. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I told you to wait for the end because there's something special that I am starting to do. I'm inviting you for a coaching session to be done live so that we can post it right here in the Find Your Voice show. If all of these topics that we've been talking about in all these episodes, some of them are resonating with you, all of them are resonating with you, and you know it's time for you to find your voice. You've gotten to this certain level in your career. You're not a newbie. You didn't just get out of college. You've been in your career and having your business for some time, and you know it's time to elevate. I'm inviting you for a coaching session with me. So you can send me a message. You could drop me a message right here in the comments. Say, I'm ready for it. It would be taped. We would do it Zoom. It would be taped or recorded. I guess we don't really have a tape anymore. And then we would put it here as one of the episodes on the Find Your Voice show. Could that coachee be you? Well, let us know. Let me know what you thought about today. Are you ready to speak your truth? Until the next time we meet, Queen.